This is a Cygnus.net exclusive.
So, what was your last run? I mean, for the listeners, you know, it's a story. This man has a story, and he was relevant for a very long time, and then he disappeared.
Well, I went through a divorce, and the divorce took a lot out of me. It took a whole lot out of me, mentally, physically, financially. It drained me. It drained a whole lot out of me. So I needed to get away from the Bay Area for a minute, you know. And I moved to Las Vegas, and I got into a whole other thing. I still was doing music, and but I got into a relationship with another woman who I thought was gonna be solid, and got married to her, and that kind of really derailed me from what my music focus was. And doing the split up on my second marriage, my second divorce, I was in Las Vegas, walking in the mall. I was in the mall, just, you know, strolling around, just kind of window shopping, looking to see what they had new. And I ran into Messy Marv and Juice. And they stopped me. They were like, "Man, where you been, man?" Ness was like, "Man, I want you to produce my album, man. I've been looking all over for you. I need you to produce my album." I say, "It's good," you know. So I say like a week later, Ness came out to Las Vegas to my house, and we did a whole album. It was I don't know what he was gonna call it, but it was gonna be Draped Up and Shipped Out 2. That's what it was gonna be, Draped Up and Shipped Out 2. But in the process of mixing the album, Ness got caught with a pistol or something. He got caught with some kind of weapon and went to jail. And I think his distributors at the time, they took the record and turned it into like a little compilation. So they used some of the songs that I did for the album. Sort of like the same situation with Tupac. They used some of the songs for that, but it was the songs that I had on the Draped Up and Shipped Out 2 album was My Life is a Movie. My Life is Like a Movie, Real Street Niggas and Millionaire Gangster, and what's the second one?
What You Hollering.
What You Hollering, yeah. And that was like, I want to say, I guess that would be like the last.
Yeah, the last one was Messy Marv, Draped Out and Shipped Out 3.
Yeah, okay.
On Everything.
Yeah, and I did the single for the Draped Up and Shipped Out 3 with the song That's on Everything with Keep the Sneak and Steph the Gaffer on there. And after that, I went to the feds. I was actually sitting in the federal holding tank, and they was playing On Everything on the radio.
Wow.
I was going to go do my little time. I caught a case, a little fed case. I was trying to save my house when I was living in Las Vegas after the second divorce. And, hustling, you know how it go when you hustling, you get caught up. Some people in my little circle got caught up and kind of told on everybody. So I did a little 3 years. But after that, I come home and I'm back on in full force, you know, trying to push a hard line, get back on point.
So how long have you been home as of today?
What 2011. I got home 2011 in May. Yeah.
So for about close to 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So what's the? I don't want to say you. Well, I guess so. You revamping the whole thing right now.
Before I went in, you know, the game was in a transitional state. You know, the whole way of selling records was changing. Everybody was going to digital, and I went to prison right when that was taking place. So when I came home, I had to kind of learn all that. I had to learn the whole digital game. I had to learn the digital equipment. Everything was, you know, I had to sit back and I had to observe. I couldn't just jump into it and go like the same way I was going at it before. You know, like in the '90s, I had to get with the new way of things. So that's what the technology changed. So I had to study a little bit.
Creating the sound that you created and responsible for all the stars that you were responsible for in there and helping boost their careers and things. Listening today, coming home, like you said, you went away, music was changing, technology was being more broad than it was before, and now the sound of music now, being an old guy and listening to this new stuff, what is your opinion on today's musical sounds, hardware to software, technically?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I love the digital technology. I love it. You know, it makes everything a lot simpler. And you know, during the '90s, you had to spend a lot of money to get that clean sound that you can just get right out of your bedroom today. You know, I can mix and master my own music now, and I don't have to go spend thousands of dollars to get that sound. Now, the music, today's music, you know, it has a different feel from the '90s sound. You know, it doesn't have that soul. You know what I mean? It has more of a. I mean, some of the music you can get a soulful feeling from it, but a majority of it doesn't have any. It has no feeling to it. You can't feel it like how you would put on. Like today, you can put on any Tupac record,
This is a Cygnus.net.
and you're gonna feel something from it. You're gonna feel some kind of energy from it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the music that come out today, you don't get You don't get those type of feelings. You know, it's more the music today is more catered to a strip club environment. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's so different, and everybody's like, even though it's different, it's like everybody's trying to jump on it, like it's something special, and it's not. It's not special at all. You know, it's hollow. And I recognized that. So for a while, I was like, I didn't want to touch none of this new sound and music. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. You know, but I started realizing, you know, things come in full cycle. You know, they go in a circle. So what I started doing is I'm like, okay, I know how to do that kind of music and put my own elements that I had from the '90s and mix it in to give it my own sound. And that's what I've been doing with some of my new music. So it's working out. I will really know when I release this new stuff I got. You know, I got a couple of new artists I've been working with. I know you're familiar with Sunnydale Slim. I've been working with him on some stuff. You know, he's a hustler, so music is not his number one priority. So. But he got a nice sound. And then I got my young artist, Young Junior. That's who I'm pushing right now. He got a real unique sound that'll work for this whole generation and this whole way of music. And I think the combination of my 90s mob sound mixed with this new millennium strip club sound, I think it's gonna make a good feeling sound that people gonna really jump on and be into.
I got my guy Thomas Ivory from Cygnus.net from the Bar Forum. He wants to know, man, you know, you work with an extensive list of artists from Tupac, Sebo, Mystical. You mentioned Messy Marv, Snoop, Master P. The list goes on. Stalin. Out of all of these artists that you've worked with, who is your favorite? Like if you just they called you at 3:30 in the morning and was like, DJ, I'm in the lab. I need you to come right now. You wake up and wipe the cold out your eyes, and you be there.
See, that's the thing. There used to be a time where I had somebody like that, but I don't really have nobody where I'm gonna jump out of bed and go, and just work with them. It's the only thing that's gonna make me do that is a dollar.
Okay, so before the money became the motivation, when music was just the motivation, what artists moved you like that?
Well, I could say Tupac, but working with Tupac, it had limits, because he was everything he needed to be in this time. The way you can put music together right now today is the time that he should have been around, because Tupac wanted everything microwave ready. He wanted you to add water and you ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So it was never. I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm a professional.
This is a Cygnus.net
I like to sit down in front of my mixing board, listening to my music. And I want to hear it and listen to it, and I'm trying to critique it, and I'm trying to make everything perfect. And I couldn't do that with Tupac. I had to do that away from him. But with Rich, I could do that. Because Rich, he wanted the music to be just as good as as I wanted it to be. But to answer that question, at once upon a time I would have said it might have been somebody like Rich, because the history that me and him had. We had a real strong history. And when you work with somebody for so long, me and this dude was getting up every day. You got to think about it. We started out in 1988, getting up every day, eat our breakfast, and do what we need to do, put gas in the car, hit the freeway, and go to Richmond and go to the studio and work. We did that for years, man, from 1988 all the way up to 96 and 97. That's how me and him rock. So when you got that kind of relationship, it's hard to break from that. So if he would have called me and said, DJ, I got to do one, it was hard for me to kind of break that cycle, actually, with Rich. It was like that for a while, When he called and said, I need some beats, I'd be in the lab putting some beats together, and I told him I'd be over there in a minute with a CD. Because it was like, me and Rich, it was always fun making music. Because, when we go in the studio with nothing really. All I would have is a beats, and the beats wouldn't even be complete. It'd just be like some melodies and ideas. And we sit down and we would come up with some great songs, So him and Mess, Mess, I made great music with Mess too. I made a lot of good music with Mess. It's just that Mess was, I really can't complain about Mess. I really can't say anything negative about him except when he started, doing what he do. But doing what he do as far as his habits and his stuff outside the studio, it never really affected our work. We still always did great work.
Wow.
I forgot to mention. My wife just reminded me.
I have to say that's something big that you don't, especially on our forum. You don't get to hear too many people saying some honest things like that about Mess. And Mess locked up right now. I just did one of my last interviews I did was with Mess. I told him, actually I talked to him today, and I told him, I said, yeah, man, I got an interview with DJ Daryl. He said, oh man, what? He said, tell him I said, I need a number.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, man, me and Mess go back a long way, man, a long way. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a true story. Me and Richie Rich, we kind of formed a relationship with Tupac around the time I was telling you when we was running into one another at the studio. Mm-hmm. And we had another partner named called Gov. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gov.
Yeah, well, yeah. Everybody should be familiar with the Gov. He got a story.
This is
okay.
a Cygnus.net.
Well, the Gov wanted to rap. Gov was a street cat. He was hustling in the street, but he wanted to rap, and he had the money to do it, but he couldn't rap. Gov couldn't write raps. He didn't know nothing about none of that. So he wanted he wanted Rich to write him some raps, wanted me to make some beats for him. So around this time, me, Richie Rich, and Tupac, we all hanging out. Like, we were like friends. We were like partners. We actually hanging together. And Gov, we working with the Gov, so Gov hanging out with us too. Now, at this time, Tupac wasn't the Tupac that everybody knows today. Tupac was just another cat that was rapping just like me and Rich was the same too. So, we in the studio. Tupac like, y'all, what's going on? What y'all doing? We like, man, we working on a project with our partner, the Gov, you know. Like, man, I want to be on that too. Let me get in on that. So, we get a song called Gapple Like That, where the Gov come on rapping, and then Tupac come on rapping, and then Rich come on rapping. And we performed this song in San Francisco. Now, at this time, you know, Frisco and Oakland cats wasn't really rocking together. You know, we I won't say we didn't get along, but we just wasn't the way it is. We had a relationship that Frisco and Oakland cats have today.
Two different sides of the bridge.
Right. So we over in Frisco doing a show, and on the song that we had with Tupac, I mean it's me, Rich, Tupac, and the Gov. We on stage performing the song. You know what I'm saying? I'm the DJ. We on stage performing the song. Now Rich on the song, Rich got a part on the song. We say, I got ghosts on the Frisco niggas and the punk police, or something to that effect. And everybody in the crowd, they rocking. They know the song. They know the song word for word. When Rich Park come on and say something about the Frisco niggas and the punk police, he didn't say nothing bad about Frisco, but people heard Frisco niggas and punk. You know, that's all they heard. They didn't hear it. They didn't hear him say punk police.
So this is the story that San Quinn told. This is the story the night Tupac lost his ring.
I don't know. I think so. But I know San Quinn and Messy Moore was in the audience, and Messy Moore kicked it off. He started throwing ice and all kind of stuff on the stage, man. And Tupac and me, we try to duck and dodge stuff, and Tupac was like, "Fuck that," you know. We went backstage, and backstage is the kitchen to the place where it was at. So Tupac backstage distributing out knives and forks and screwdrivers. Like, man, we got to go out here. We got to fight our way out of this place. And I remember telling the story to Mess, and I didn't know that at the time. You know, Mess was like, yeah, that was me. I don't want to start it. I don't want to kick it off. Mess the one started it. He started doing ice and cups and stuff on the stage or whatever, man. I just think that story was always funny to me because I'm like, wow.
That's crazy. I interviewed San Quinn not too long ago, and he was telling us about that story. And that's funny that you say, you know, a lot of you mentioned earlier in the interview, a lot of times you've seen Tupac on videos and things like that. You were there, you just wasn't on camera. So you were there actually at that experience when that happened. And that's been documented on our site already. Quinn told that story, and supposedly Tupac lost a ring. He had a big ring that night, and he lost it. And
he did because, you know, Tupac picked up a mic stand. He was going to throw it.
And it flew off while he was singing the mic stand, and one of San Quinn homeboys ended up getting the ring. So yeah, that's crazy that you're telling that story right now. That's absolutely hilarious. That's crazy.
So, you know, but man, he's been around for a while, man. He's a great dude, man. I hate that I know people be going in on him about his habits and, you know, his situation when he gets robbed and jumped and all that. No matter what he goes through, man, he always been a solid dude, though.
And he can rap.
He can definitely rap. He's one of the rawest cats today. Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up. Who are some of your inspirations musically?
Oh, man, my inspirations, man, they go back to some old school cats. You know, I'm inspired by, like, Parliament and Al Green and Curtis Mayfield, you know. Them kind of cats inspire me, man. It hasn't never really been a rapper or another producer from my era that inspired me. I mean, because I used to see. Well, I was a DJ first. I was a real solid DJ. You know, I used to battle. I battled LL Cool J's DJs and battling. I battled MC Hammer's DJ, Lone Mixer,
This
and
is a Cygnus.net exclusive.
I forget the other one's name. But I used to be in a lot of DJ battles. You know what I mean? And I used to run across DJs like Radio and Joe Cooley, Dr. Dre and them. So I was DJing right around the same time Dr. Dre and them. So, you know, them cats, we kind of knew each other from that whole DJ circle. You know, DJ Pooh, he was a DJ too in that little circle. And I guess you could say I was never motivated by what Dr. Dre was doing, because, you know, Dr. Dre is a West Coast producer. You know what I'm saying? He's looked at as, you know, the biggest producer in the West Coast before the beat by Dre. You know, but I was never inspired by what he was doing. I was always looking at him like, man, this dude is getting them opportunities that I can't get. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like he was better than me or nothing to that effect, because no doubt he was a great producer, but I know a lot of other producers that was doing a lot of music that he was getting credit for. You know what I'm saying? So I was never really inspired by somebody on his level. I was more inspired by cats from the 70s.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You know,
you're right. I mean, which is should be, because that was your era back then when you were listening to
music. I know a lot of cats. They would say somebody like him got them motivated to do music. But I look at him like I'm trying to catch up to Dre. But he's out there in LA. He's out there where it's really happening. So it's hard to catch up with that cat. You feel me? I mean,
but y'all pretty much came up in the same era though. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, one time we had a conversation at a concert that they was doing, and we had a long conversation about SB 1200. And anybody that ever worked on SB 1200,
This is a Cygnus.net
exclusive. Sample the 808, there's a little bell that's in the 808 drum sound. There's a bell up in there, and him and DJ Cool was conversating about how do you get rid of that bell. And I worked with SB 1200, and I knew how to get rid of it. So I kind of jumped in the conversation. I told him how to get rid of it. And they was like, whoa, I'm going to try that. And, you know, they had their little equipment right there on the spot. He tried it, and it worked. And you know, I'm pretty sure if you ever get to talk to him, you can ask him about that conversation. He'll be like, I remember that.
So you telling me right now you basically gave Dr. Dre an ingredient?
Yeah, I gave him and DJ Pooh some game on how to get that little ring, that little bell ringing sound out of the 808 kick drum.
So let me ask you this: you mentioned we've been talking a while. You mentioned E.A. Ski. He's one of the most notable West Coast producers, as well as Dr. Dre, all working together with Ice Cube and things like that. Dr. Dre's he's got a whole bunch of honorable mentions, as well as E.A. Ski being named for what did he get? Decade Award, producer of the Decade Award.
Producer of the Decade at one of them little West Coast awards. Yeah, they gave him a producer of the Decade. Decade meaning all of the 90s. Now I've been sitting here talking to you about all the stuff I've done. Everything I've done in the 90s is something that most people can relate to. I don't know, I don't know if they even had me in mind during that time, but a lot of the records that I produced, from like Drew Down, I didn't even mention Drew Down. I didn't mention Currency neither. I also worked with him. But a lot of the records I've mentioned, like the Steve-O records, some of his biggest records, Messy Mark, Richie Rich. He's not nowhere on none of those records. So I thought it was a little odd that he was able to get that title over me. You know what I'm saying?
This is a Cygnus.net exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. You gotta understand. I would never take nothing from EAC. You know, me and EAC, we actually started our career off together. Me, EAC, and TMP, and we was all good, you know, until I started dealing with the mob, the street cats, you know, the cats that put me and Richie Rich in the studio. EAC didn't want to have nothing to do with them, the cats, you know, but. So I mean, but we still had a good friendship. We always had a good friendship. And so I'm not taking nothing from him, but producer of the decade, I don't think that was the right choice.
Got it. So who is an artist today, right now? You thinking, man, if I could get that phone call today to work with the artist, who is the artist you want to work with right now that you haven't worked with yet in your career?
Wow, you know, that's a good question. That's the question nobody's never really asked me. But the answer is going to be even shocking, more shocking than the question. Too Short.
Really? You never? Wow.
I've never done nothing with Too Short. I never worked personally with Too Short or E-40. Now, E-40. I just scored a film that Too Short's in. You know, I did a movie score for a film that he's in. But E-40, he's rapped on some of my music. You know, he's done some features on a couple of my tracks. But I never worked personally with him in the studio or with Too Short. Too Short never even rapped on none of my music.
Never. Since 88. Well, Too Short been around since, 83, 84?
Yeah, somewhere around there, 84, 85.
And never rapped on a DJ Daryl beat.
Never.
Not even as a feature?
Never. Nothing. Too Short never rapped none of my music.
Now, why is that?
It's a street politics thing.
That's my next question. Is it politics behind that?
It's a street politics thing. I'm going to tell you a story. Okay? It started around the time of 415. When 415 came out, we made so much noise that it was kind of like it was drowning Too Short out a little bit. Right?
This is a Cygnus.net exclusive.
You know, 415 started having internal problems. You know, D-Lo wasn't happy with what was going on at the time, and I wasn't happy with what was going on. I mean, what it came down to, our executive producer just stopped answering his phone. He just wasn't answering his phone no more. So we was like, are we still a group? Do we still have a label to go to or claim? You know, so Too Short manager at the time, Randy Austin, he's from West Oakland. He was a good friend of mine. You know, I knew him, you know, personally. So I kind of set up a meeting with him. You know, I'm like, you know, me and D-Lo, we tight. We can do some stuff on our own. You know, Rich at the time, didn't really care one way or another. You know, because he was in the streets hustling. So he was like, I don't got to rap. I can just stay in the street and get my money. So he wasn't a part of the little move that we was putting down. So we set up. I set a meeting up with Randy, and Randy was going to shop up a deal and bring us in under the whole Dangerous Music. We was going to be part of Too Short's whole little clique. We sat down, had a little meeting, and everything was a green light. And then the next day, I get a call from Randy, and he was like, "Man, that's messed up what y'all did, man." I didn't know what he was talking about. Apparently, D-Lo went back to Jed and told Jed that Too Short was trying to sign us over to his thing. And Jed called over to Too Short people and threatened to kill everybody over there. About trying to steal his group. somehow the blame got placed on me. So ever since then, Too Short has not been cool with me. He's like, Randy was like, Too Short don't want you to come around here. He don't want you to go over here. You're just not welcome. You got Jed calling, talking about he's going to shoot up my house. He's going to kill everybody for trying to steal the group. I'm like, real talk.
So it's been 30 years. Y'all ain't never two of some of the Bay Area's fighters ain't never been able to work together over.
I have never sat down with Too Short to try to explain to him. See, they think it was me that went back and told Jed that they was trying to recruit us, and it was D-Lo the whole time. So they, I think that's the only thing I could think of the reason why I never got no music on Too Short. So me and Randy, I was able to explain that to Randy because later on he did become my manager, and I ended up, doing some work with him. But Too Short was already out of the picture, so I never got to sit down with Too Short and explain this whole situation to him, and so we can kind of get that clear so we can work, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I brought some business to him. I had some cats that came from out of state to get some music from me, and they wanted Too Short verse, and I got a hold of Too Short. I had one of my, some people that was working for my company. They got a hold of Too Short, and he made a few thousand off of that, but still never got to do no work on it with him.